When I was 22, my girlfriend and I booked a cheap hotel during a weekend trip to Florida. The place wasn't terrible, but it definitely looked older than the pictures online. The first night was normal. The second night wasn't. Around midnight, we started hearing what sounded like furniture being dragged across the floor in the room next to ours. At first, we ignored it. Then we heard somebody crying, not loudly, just quiet crying, like someone was trying not to be heard. My girlfriend wanted to call the front desk. I said we'd wait a little longer. The crying continued for nearly 30 minutes. Then it suddenly stopped completely. A few minutes later, somebody knocked on our door. 3 slow knocks. I checked the peephole. Nobody. I figured it was kids messing around. The next morning we mentioned the noise to the receptionist. She looked confused. Then she told us something strange. The room beside ours had been closed for renovations for almost 2 months. Nobody had stayed there. That alone was unsettling, but it wasn't the creepiest part. As we were checking out, I asked if we could see the room. The receptionist hesitated, then grabbed a master key and walked us upstairs. When she unlocked the door, the room was completely empty. No furniture, no curtains, no decorations, nothing, just bare floors and stripped walls. There was no way someone could have been dragging furniture around in there. As we were leaving, my girlfriend suddenly stopped in the doorway. She was staring at one of the walls. Scratched into the paint were 3 words: "Don't let him in." Neither of us had noticed it the night before. We left immediately. A few days later, I checked the motel's online reviews. One review from the previous month caught my attention. It was only 1 sentence long. "If someone knocks 3 times, don't answer." The account that posted it was deleted.
A few years ago, I went on vacation with some friends to a small coastal town. It wasn't a popular tourist destination. The town was quiet, and after sunset, most places closed surprisingly early. One night, around 1 a.m., 3 of us decided to take a walk along the beach. The weather was nice, and none of us were tired enough to sleep yet. The beach was almost completely empty. No houses nearby, no lifeguard stations, no other people, just miles of sand and the sound of waves crashing in the darkness. We had been walking for maybe 15 minutes when my friend suddenly stopped. He pointed toward the water. At first I couldn't see what he was looking at. Then I noticed it. There was somebody standing in the ocean. The water came up to about their waist. I remember thinking they had to be freezing. Even during the day, the water there was cold. At first we assumed it was another tourist, maybe somebody drunk, maybe somebody fishing. But the longer we watched, the stranger it became. The person wasn't moving at all, not shifting their weight, not turning around, nothing. They were just standing there facing the shore. The waves kept crashing into them, but they remained completely still. One of my friends joked that it looked like a mannequin. Nobody laughed. Something about it felt wrong. We continued watching for several minutes. The figure never moved. Eventually, one of my friends shouted, "Hey!" For a second, nothing happened. Then the figure slowly raised one arm, not waving, not signaling, just pointing, directly at us. I felt my stomach drop. The movement looked unnatural, slow and deliberate, like they had been waiting for us to notice them. None of us said anything. We simply turned around and started walking back. As stupid as it sounds now, we didn't run. We just wanted to get away from whatever we were looking at. Every few minutes, one of us would glance over his shoulder. The figure was still there, still standing in the water, still pointing. About halfway back to town, my friend looked behind us again. Then he suddenly stopped walking. I asked what was wrong. He didn't answer. He just pointed back toward the beach. The figure was gone. The water was empty. No splashing, no movement, nothing. It was as if they had never been there. The rest of the walk back was completely silent. None of us wanted to talk about it. The next morning, curiosity got the better of us. We returned to the exact stretch of beach. The tide had gone out considerably, making it easy to see the wet sand. The beach was empty. No people, no fishing equipment, nothing. Then my friend found something. Footprints, a single set, leading out of the ocean. We followed them. The footprints continued across the sand for maybe 50 feet. Then they stopped. Not turned around, not changed direction, just stopped. Exactly where we had been standing the night before. As if whoever made them had walked directly out of the water, stood where we had been, and then vanished. We were already unsettled by that. But then my other friend pointed something out. There was another set of footprints, almost impossible to notice unless you were looking closely. They weren't coming from the water, they started behind the dunes, and they followed us, for nearly the entire length of the beach, matching our path from the night before. Whoever had been standing in the ocean wasn't the only person watching us that night. This happened in 2022 during a trip I took with my cousin. We rented a small Airbnb cabin in the mountains for 4 nights. The place seemed perfect, quiet, clean, remote. The nearest town was about 20 minutes away, and there were only a handful of cabins scattered throughout the area. For the first day and a half, everything was normal. We hiked during the day, grilled outside at night, and spent most of our time relaxing. The second night was when things got weird. We were sitting in the living room watching a movie when my cousin noticed a tiny blinking light coming from a smoke detector mounted above us. At first we ignored it. Then he joked, "What if it's a camera?" We laughed about it. But for some reason, I couldn't stop thinking about it. The next morning, after my cousin left to grab coffee from a nearby store, I dragged a chair over and climbed up to take a closer look. The second I removed the cover, my stomach dropped. Inside wasn't any smoke detector hardware, it was a small camera, pointed directly at the couch. I immediately called my cousin and told him to come back. Neither of us really knew what to do. We contacted Airbnb and reported it right away. While waiting for a response, we decided to search the cabin ourselves. Within the next 30 minutes, we found 2 more devices. One hidden inside a decorative clock on a bookshelf. Another mounted near the back porch facing the hot tub area. At that point, we packed our bags. Neither of us wanted to stay another night. Airbnb told us to remain at the property until local authorities arrived. A deputy showed up later that afternoon. He searched the cabin and documented everything. Eventually, the owner was contacted. At first, he denied knowing anything about the cameras. Then, he changed his story. He admitted they existed, but claimed they were only intended to monitor the exterior of the property. That obviously didn't explain the one hidden inside the smoke detector. The investigation continued for several weeks after we left. Honestly, I assumed that would be the end of it. Then, I got a phone call from the deputy handling the case. According to him, investigators had found 2 additional cameras hidden inside the cabin. 5 total. The owner insisted he had only installed 3. The other 2 weren't registered to any device he owned. Nobody could determine who put them there. That was unsettling enough. But then the deputy told me one more thing. One of the extra cameras had been hidden inside the bedroom where I slept. The camera wasn't pointed at the bed. It was pointed at the bedroom door, as if someone wasn't interested in watching the guests. They were interested in watching who entered the room. A few months later, curiosity got the better of me. I checked the Airbnb listing again. The property had been removed. The owner's account was gone. The only trace I could find was an old review posted a few weeks before our stay. It was buried among dozens of normal reviews. Just one sentence, no explanation, no details. It simply said, "If you stay here, lock the bedroom door." To this day, I still have no idea who installed the other 2 cameras, or why one of them was watching the doorway instead of the room.